Good morning, everyone. Ah, my bangs. Oh, I'm getting them all. Oh, dear. What am I doing? There we go. Trying to fix my hair on the camera. Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? Welcome to Monday Mindset. I am Erin Hart. I am a registered nurse and health coach that empowers women to get off of the dieting roller coaster and to lose weight for the last time with a sugar and flour free lifestyle. So, if you're new to this Monday Mindset, this is something that we do every Monday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time in the VIP Facebook group for my clients so that you guys can come and get your questions answered and post questions in the comments in the chat, and then we can get to those at the end of the session at the Q&A. But I love to start the week with an inspiring message to educate you and to inspire you on your sugar and flour free weight loss journey. So today we're talking about people pleasing. This podcast, this Monday Mindset, is really designed to empower moms over 40 to live your best lives, right? One intentional choice at a time. And so if you're on a journey to lose weight for the last time and embrace the sugar and flour free lifestyle, this episode is especially for you because let's be honest, like one of the biggest obstacles to self-care is the urge to put everyone else's needs before your own. So today we're going to talk about why it's time to break free from people pleasing and how it stems back to a lack of a healthy relationship with yourself, and how addressing people pleasing can really be a game changer for your health and your well-being. People pleasing, it really often starts with the best intentions. We want to be helpful and supportive and liked by those around us, but over time, this habit can become a crutch and it can lead us to neglect our own needs and goals, even our basic physiological needs like eating healthy, right? So, at its core, people pleasing is a behavior about sacrificing your own needs and desires in order to gain approval from others. So let me say that one more time because I think it's important to remember that the definition of people pleasing at its core is about sacrificing. Oh, sorry, I have like a hair in my eye. Okay, people pleasing at its core is about sacrificing your own needs and your desires in order to gain approval from others. And so while it's really natural to want to be liked, when you prioritize others' approval above your own well-being, it becomes a problem. And it's really important to recognize that this behavior can stem from a lack of a healthy relationship with yourself. When we're constantly seeking validation from others, it may reflect a deeper issue that we have, like a lack of self-worth or an internal belief that we're only valuable if we're making others happy. So this is why people pleasing, it's not just about setting boundaries with others. It's about doing the inner work to develop a strong, healthy sense of yourself. And then when we truly value ourselves, we recognize that our needs and goals are just as important as anyone else's. And when we prioritize our own self-care, it's not selfish. It's the best gift that we can give to others, right? Because then we can show up the way that we want to and have more to give. So let's talk about people pleasing and how people pleasing can sabotage your weight loss journey. So imagine this for a moment. Like if you've decided to cut out sugar and flour because you know it's the best path for your health, but then a friend invites you over for dinner and you feel compelled to eat the dessert she made specially just for you, right? Because you don't want to hurt her feelings. Or maybe your family asks for their favorite pasta dish, right? And you end up making and eating it yourself. And even though it doesn't align with your goals. So these small compromises, they may seem really harmless in the moment, but over time, they add up. Over time, they add up. So by constantly putting others' expectations and feelings before your own, you're not only undermining your progress with your health goals, but also sending a message to yourself that your goals and needs aren't as important. So this behavior is also it often stems from the need to be liked or accepted, but when we do this at the expense of our own well-being, it's a clear indication that inner work is needed. So it's really time to build a stronger relationship with yourself. If this is something that you're struggling with, it's time to build a stronger relationship with yourself, one where you prioritize your health and your happiness without guilt or shame. Okay? So, um, so sometimes in the sugar and flour free lifestyle, another example is food pushers, right? So how do we handle food pushers? Those really well-meaning friends and family members or coworkers that just insist that you eat something that doesn't align with your goals. So first, it's important to recognize that food pushers often have their own reason for their behavior. They may feel uncomfortable with your choices because it highlights their own unhealthy habits, or they may simply be expressing love or tradition through food. And understanding this can really help you to approach the situation with empathy while still standing firm in your decisions and doing what's best for you. So here's how we can handle food pushers. I want to give you a few tips. So number one is just to be firm and kind. So tell the truth with kindness. Tell the truth with kindness. So when someone offers you food that you don't want to eat, you can politely decline. So you don't owe anyone a detailed explanation, but if you feel comfortable, you can briefly share that you're committed to your health goals, right? For example, you might say like, "Thank you so much, but I'm focusing on my own health right now and I'm not eating sugar or flour." You could or you could just simply say like, "No, thank you." Like no is a complete sentence, and it's okay. So that's number two. No is a complete sentence. Like one of the most empowering things that you can do is to realize that no is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain why you're saying no to justify your decision or apologize for it. Because sometimes when we explain why, like people come back with reasons like, "Oh, yeah, but what about this?" right? So just a simple like, "Oh, no, thank you" is perfectly sufficient. And yeah, you can say it nicely with a smile, but it's important to stand firm. So when you learn to say no without over explaining, you're affirming that your choices and boundaries are valid in their own right. So, like, "Thank you so much. I'm so full right now." That's all you got to say. Number three, offer alternatives. So if you're attending a gathering, consider bringing a dish that aligns with your lifestyle. So this is a way that you can make sure that you have something that is on your plan, and also serve in a subtle way to introduce others to healthier options. Um, so number four is just doing that inner work that we talked about. So take time to reflect on why you feel the need to please others. Are there underlying beliefs or fears that are driving this behavior? And journaling is a really powerful way to do the inner work. So journaling, meditating, seeking support from a therapist or a coach to work through these people pleasing issues. The more that you understand and heal your relationship with yourself, the less you'll feel the need to seek external validation from others. So, as you work on breaking free from people pleasing, it's so important to be gentle with yourself. Like, this is a process, and there's going to be times when you slip up. So, instead of beating yourself up, just practice self compassion and acknowledge the process. It's okay to disappoint other people. Other people are responsible for their emotions. You are not responsible for other people's thoughts and feelings. So for me, that was really uh, life changing to understand that it's okay for me to disappoint other people. You know, if you say no, thank you, and they have a problem with that, that's about them and not about you. And so stand firm, be kind, and and prioritize your needs. You don't have to sacrifice your goals and your dreams to get validation and 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 approval from other people. So it's so natural to want to be liked, but when we prioritize others' approval above your own well-being, le- that will sabotage you, and it's not going to help you to achieve your goal this year. So I just invite you guys to practice this. This takes practice, and we're not going to be perfect at it at first. So be kind to yourself as you go through this process of overcoming people pleasing. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And I just want to say hello to everyone I see in the comments. We have so Jean, good morning, Jane. And then the other Jane too. We got two Janes in here. And let's see, who else do we have? I'm trying to like figure out how to. But anyway, does anyone have questions about their program this week? First, I just want to ask you, what are wins that you have that you've experienced this week? Any win, even no matter how small it is, go ahead and put that in the chat. What is a win that you've had this week? And then what's your biggest challenge that you're facing? And I would love to address that for you. Good morning, Debbie. Welcome. So glad you guys are here. Thanks for joining me live. I really am so glad to spend this time together. So yeah, what are your wins and your challenges? Go ahead and put those in the chat. And while I give you guys a minute to do that, I just want to mention that on August 26th through the 29th, we have another free challenge. So these free challenges, our challenge kickoff is 4 days. Day one, we talk about, well, let me just say that the challenge, what it is it's designed to just give your program some rocket fuel. So if you're new to this lifestyle, these are the success secrets I share in the coaching program and in the course that really are the foundation of and the framework of everything I teach. And they are to master your mindset, to develop a winning strategy, and learn how to create habits to consistently execute your plan so that you not only lose weight, but you keep it off forever. So if you are a woman over 40 that wants to achieve your goal body this year, I invite you to come to this challenge, and it's a free challenge. Come and learn how to achieve your goal body this year, how to master your mindset, how to customize your sugar and flour free lifestyle so it's something that you can stick to consistently and and maintain long term, and then how to execute your plan, how to overcome the all or nothing mentality and perfectionism. So again, it's August 26th through the 29th. And if you know anyone who needs this free challenge, I invite you to share the link with them. So it's www.healthyrealfood.com/challenge. So healthyrealfood.com/challenge is how you register. And if you're already in the Success Path program, you are always welcome to that, and you can get access to the replays. But please help me spread the word. I would love that. Okay, so some of the comments I see in here are planning and packing food for a road trip. And then, so Jane, yeah, that's a really great topic. So, road trips are one of the things that I think is really important to remember. And I know you guys hear me say this all of the time is that there's always a way to stick to my plan. That mantra is really important because as we're facing new challenges like road trips or family parties or maybe addressing people pleasing, right? It can just feel so overwhelming. Like, how in the world am I going to do this? I've never been able to do this before. And so, just adopting a growth mindset that even though I've never been able to do it before, doesn't mean that I won't be able to learn how to do this now. We have to adopt the identity of a healthy person. And so the small choices that we make, like going on a road trip and or going to a family party, or those small decisions that we make create the future self, create our future self. And when you look at your current habits and behaviors, if you magnify those over time, over months and years, where are they going to get you, right? So that's the importance of staying on your plan today and the power of today. We don't have yesterday. We can't change the past and our past decisions. We can't really make those healthy decisions in the future yet. We only have power to make those small decisions today. So as you're planning and preparing mentally ahead of time for anticipated obstacles like a road trip, we want to do the whoop tool, which is to visualize in your mind going on your trip. Visualize coming home from your trip, having stayed on your plan, and how great that's going to feel, and the results and consequences of that, right? How that is going to help you to move closer towards your goals, and even visualize the opposite of that. Like, what if you go on your trip and you don't stay on your plan, and how is that going to feel when you come home? What are what are the consequences of continuing to make those decisions of going off plan? So just as we are approaching our goal, we want to remember this visualization tool, WOOP. So WOOP. So wish, outcome, obstacle, and plan. And so visualizing in detail the outcome, the ideal outcome that you want to achieve, and how that's going to feel, what that's going to look like, what that's going to mean for you as you magnify that over time. And then obstacle, we want to anticipate obstacles and visualize those in detail in our mind before we get to the trip. So, planning, so for a road trip, I like that you've already kind of done this work, Jane, because you're recognizing the importance of planning and packing food ahead of time for the trip. Because once you can anticipate obstacles that will prevent you from staying on your plan, then we can make a plan uh, for how we're going to overcome that. So by planning and packing food ahead of time for a road trip, you're really setting yourself up for success. And I think my tips for that would just be get a cooler. Road trips are nice because you usually can bring a cooler, an ice chest, and you really could pack all of your food if you wanted to. What I like to do on road trips is I like to plan and prepare ahead of time for the trip, my breakfast and my lunches. So just I have an idea of, so I have those planned and prepared. So breakfast bakes are really great. I like to go to Costco, and they have some prepackaged proteins like chicken or egg bites or salami and cheese or hummus or guacamole, right? That are just really portable. Getting those portable items like apples and carrots and celery and sugar snap peas and oranges, right? That travel easy and travel well. Just to have those as part of your plan. Oatmeal bites are really great. You can kind of prepare little balls of oatmeal with nut butter and seeds, with uh, with oats, and then all you have to do is add water and fruit. So just finding ways to plan for your breakfasts and lunches, and then at dinner, that's a fun time to maybe go and try some new restaurants. So, and the tips for that are just like go and look ahead of time at the restaurants, or um, look at the menu ahead of time and decide what you're going to get before you even go on the trip. Like do some research and look at where you're going. What are a few different restaurants you could eat at, and look at the menus, and decide ahead of time what you would eat if you went there. And then, like, no matter who you're traveling with, just I invite you to ask for their support. And whether or not they're supportive, it doesn't really matter, because you can stay on your plan no matter what. No matter what they want to do, you have the power to make those decisions. And so ask for their support. Let them know that this is important to you, and that this will help you to enjoy the trip a lot more by staying on your plan. And then I think that can be a really helpful way to guarantee your success. But way to go for planning and packing food ahead of time. I think that you're going to have a much better experience and less food chatter, and just setting yourself up for success. So I'm excited for you, Jane. You can do this, and just remember, this is how you build confidence, by doing hard things and not dying. Because next time you go on a road trip, you're gonna know that you can do it because you've done it before. So Debbie said, staying on plan while taking my son to his favorite places. Yes, thank you so much for sharing that, Debbie. Uh, so so one of the so Debbie has a son that just came back from a deployment, and is wanting to go and see all of the or go and visit all of the favorite foods and places, right, that he has missed for the last little while. So that's totally understandable, like hosting other people. Again, I just think um, being open and honest about your needs as well. That your needs are just as important as his, and you can take him to all of his favorite places if you feel. Well, what I'm trying to say is that is that even like he loves you so much and he wants what's best for you. So if it's really hard for you to experience all the triggers of going to those places, and if you feel like that's not something that you can do, be open and honest about that with him. And maybe someone else, or he can go by himself to those special places for food if it's really triggering for you. If you were an alcoholic or a drug addict, you wouldn't that would be a line in the sand you probably wouldn't want to cross, right? To put yourself in that situation where you feel really triggered, and that could sabotage your recovery. And so, food addiction is real too, and we have to approach it in the same way. So if it is triggering for you, if you feel like you're having a hard time staying on your plan and going to all of these places that he wants to visit, talk to him about that, and just simply, put that boundary up. This is another great example of how we can prioritize our own needs instead of putting other needs ahead of our own. And of course, it's so natural to just want to take him to those places, but if it's at the risk of going back into some of those old behaviors, consider just letting him know that, and finding other ways to connect with him that don't involve food. Like, what are some other ways that you could connect and reconnect with him, and show your love without food? How could we do that? And I invite you to just get your journal and write out 20 things that you could do to show love to him without food. He can go and borrow the car, or like take his own car and go to all of those places by himself. And if that's something that's hard for you, just be mindful of that. But if you do feel like you are strong enough to go, one of the things I recommend, like when you are in a triggering situation or a place that has a lot of not my food there, use your support system. So bookending is a really powerful way to get strength in those moments. If you're anticipating an obstacle, a bookend, which just means that you text your support buddy, your daily accountability buddy, and you text them and let them know, you know what, I'm going to this restaurant with my son. That it has a lot of not my food there, and I might have a hard time with that. So I'm just texting you right now to let you know that my intention is to stay on my plan, and I'm going to text you after I get back from the restaurant to let you know that I did stay on my plan. And so just increasing your support system with accountability is a great way to address that. Again, looking at the menu ahead of time. Most places have protein and produce so that you can go and enjoy restaurant meals with your family and stay on your plan still. So even texting your support buddy, like, this is the restaurant we're going to. I looked at the menu ahead of time and this is what I'm getting. I commit to this. And even just letting your son know, like, I want to take you to all of these places, but it's also important for me to continue to progress with my health goals, and so this is what I'm going to eat. If that's something you feel comfortable with talking to him about, I hope that that can help you. So, yeah, staying on plan while you go to all of your son's favorite places. For sure, you want to stay and be with him. So if that is something that you want to do, is I would just encourage you to increase your accountability and make the decisions of what you're going to eat ahead of time. When we decide what we're going to eat ahead of time, we're using the higher part of our brain. So we're using the part of our brain that thinks more long term about what's best for us long term. When we decide in the moment, when we're having urges and cravings, we're using the short term part of our brain, that caveman brain that just wants instant gratification, and that's not a way to achieve our health goals. So planning and preparing your food ahead of time, whether you're going on a road trip or going to a restaurant like Debbie with her son, uh, is really the key to achieving success with this lifestyle. It's just learning to use that higher part of our brain to make food decisions instead of using the caveman brain that wants what it wants in the moment. So, really great questions, you guys. So Jane says the Yeti cooler is great. Yes, I love that cooler because it keeps your food cold for like days. So that's a really great idea for your road trip. I love that. Also, when you get to your destination, most places have grocery stores. So before you get to your hotel or Airbnb, go ahead and go to the grocery store and just stock up your fridge with a whole bunch of healthy food options. Anytime I'm traveling, I think that that's one of the things that helps the most. But yeah, the Yeti cooler is great. Jane talks about one of the challenges she has is to only eat what she writes down. Yeah, that's a really great point, Jane, and I appreciate you bringing this up. So, only eating what you write down can be so challenging, right? Because a lot, and I was just talking to someone about this the other day about how that sometimes we have this rebel inside of us that wants to just have that freedom to eat whatever we want, right? And so, and you can eat whatever you want, right? Like in the healthy real food lifestyle, there's such an abundance of healthy real food that we eat anything that doesn't have sugar and flour. So there's so much variety that we can have. And, I think it also is helpful to remember you can eat anything you want. You can eat the sugar and flour, but we have to just remember that we're choosing not to. We don't eat it because that's our identity. So, but I think what you're saying, Jane, is that the challenge is to only eat what you write down, that sometimes we trade things that we write down ahead of time for other compliant options. And This might be a good Monday mindset in the future too, because the reason that we have the habit of eating only what we write down, it's because again we're using the higher part of our brain. We're using the part of our brain that thinks more about long-term consequences and our long-term goals when we're writing things out ahead of time. When we trade our food in the moment and we just are like, oh yeah, that doesn't look good, I'm gonna eat this instead. We're using that lower part of our brain, and we're practicing using that. We're practicing using the caveman brain that wants the instant gratification. And so that's like one of the reasons, not even talking about the food itself, of why we want to try to practice not using that part of our brain anymore to make food decisions. And it's totally natural to like write something down and it's like, oh, this doesn't look as good, right? This doesn't look as good as this other thing. And so um but that's one of the ways our brain blocks us from weight loss. And our brain is really designed to block us from losing weight, right? Our brain's designed to help us to survive. And so we really look at the foods that are sweeter or have higher caloric density, and that's what our brain craves. And so when we write down our food the night before, a lot of times we write down healthier options than we would choose in the moment. And so you may have written down beans for your protein last night, but oh, like this steak looks really good. And you can have steak anytime you want, right? But what we want to do is we want to try to make those decisions ahead of time, not in the moment. Because often in the moment we are, even if they're compliant changes in what we're choosing instead of what we wrote down, it's often foods that are more calorically dense, or or can trigger that food addiction. Maybe there are foods that are just like sexier and tastier and can trigger the food thoughts. So all of those food thoughts that we have, like the goal that we have with a sugar and flour free lifestyle, it's not just to lose weight, it's really to find peace with our food and to quiet down all the food chatter. So when we give in to the food chatter, even if it's to change our food for a compliant item, we're going to have more and more food chatter in the future, because we're going to be constantly negotiating with ourselves. And so not only is it going to help you when you eat what you wrote down with exactness, and not only is that going to help you lose weight faster because you're using the higher part of your brain to make food decisions instead of the lower part of your brain, even when they're compliant choices. Sometimes we are swapping broccoli for butternut squash, or we're swapping beans for bacon, right? And so we just have to remember that it's going to help you lose weight faster, but also it's really going to help us to quiet that food chatter. And so we are not constantly negotiating with ourselves, and that's really going to bring us a lot of peace, not only with our food but also with our body, as we're able to lose weight and maintain it long term. So really great questions, you guys. Thank you for participating in the comments. This is really fun to do these Q&A sessions after the Monday Mindset. I hope that's helpful. And I really look forward to seeing you guys at our coaching calls this week. So this week for our coaching calls, we're just going to be covering step 6 of the Success Path course. And I invite, which is just losing all of your excess weight. And I'm going to give you tips and tricks to help you with the weight loss phase. And so I invite you for those of you that are in the coaching program, be sure to watch those videos ahead of time If you can, watch those before we get to the coaching call, and then we're going to do the success work from the workbooks that go along with that module together. So I love you guys so much. I am so grateful for this time we've had together, and I look forward to celebrating all of your success this year. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.